So, what can you actually expect from dating in your 30s? I'm a 31-year-old man, so I'll give you my perspective and what I think women are experiencing. So, you're going to get both sides of the equation here. Of course, I'm biased, I'm a man, but here you go. For me, personally, the anecdotal version and then the theory. Anecdotally, the 31-year-old version of me smokes the 21-year-old version of me. And it's not even close. I was socially awkward. I didn't really know who I was yet. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I wasn't as comfortable as I am now just talking, whether it's to a camera, a crowd of people, socially, in an event, or with women that I'm interested in. I'm much more comfortable talking and being my authentic self. I wasn't that at 21. I can't tell you that I was fully that yet because I didn't even know who I was. I was super insecure. Now, I'm not the perfect man right now, but I'm much leagues above the 21-year-old version of myself. I also have security and stability now. I own a home. I have a nice car. I have assets. I have savings. Wow, who would have thought? The 21-year-old version of me didn't have it as together as the 31-year-old version of me. I'm more mature now for my age. I'm more focused, more determined. I'm passionate about certain things, my career, my path. All of these things and qualities are attractive to a woman. So now in my 30s, I have my pick of the litter. Of course, it's still difficult dating for a man and in 2024, regardless of age and gender. No doubt about it. But in theory, life in dating should be easier for you as a man if you did your homework and did all the things you were supposed to do in your 20s. You should be eating off the fruits of your labor now, living off of those fruits now, as they say. You're not perfect, you're still building, but you should be, in theory, better off as a man today in your 30s than in your 20s. Also, as a man, you get to have your cake and eat it too. You get to have it both ways. You can date women now at your age or younger. For women, though, let's talk about the challenges now. Women at 30. Well, they say peak physical beauty for a woman is 24. There's a study. If I find it, I'll post it up here and put it in the description. Apparently, adult men 18 to 70 to the grave all agree that peak physical beauty in a woman is 24. So now women in their 30s, I still think they're attractive. Of course, they're still beautiful. They're just not peak in many cases. A lot of them can't compete with the 24-year-old version of themselves, but they're still beautiful and attractive. Let's not hate. Let's continue. What ends up happening? Number one, they're not in their peak, but number two, they have even higher standards. Both men and women have higher standards at this age because we know what we want. We know what we're looking for. We've been through it all. We're more comfortable with ourselves. We know who we are. So guess what? We're even choosier. Now, women are already choosy as it is. You guys are swiping 14% of the time on men on dating apps like Tinder. So 14% of the time, 1 out of 10 times you're swiping right on a man. That's just on Tinder, but that's a microcosm of the real world. Now imagine women in their 30s who aren't doing situationships, aren't entertaining the BS anymore, supposedly, and are looking to date to marry. It's going to be that much tougher. They usually want the man also that's not younger than them. They want a man usually that's at their age or older. So that's already slim pickings. So older man, provider mindset, has it together, just higher standards in general. So imagine that. If they were already choosy then, they're going to be even more choosy now. And here's the thing too with 30-year-old women and above. Now we're also dealing with single moms. A lot of men don't want to date single moms. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with single moms. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a stepdad. But a lot of men, that's just not their preference. Here we go too with now being 30 and having dealt with past trauma. We all bring our baggage now to the table. So what does that mean? A lot of us have had our hearts broken. We've had all of these experiences. We're all seeking therapy now. So now when it comes to dating and relationships, people play games. They don't want to text first. They don't want to call first. They just don't want to put 2 feet into the relationship. They don't want to give it their all. They're all about protecting themselves. So again, more issues arise out of that kind of thing and more problems come out of it. For women, they just get choosier and have higher standards and pretty much price themselves out of finding a suitable partner. I haven't talked about this last point yet. Career and money. Women are graduating more than men. Women are making high salaries. Nothing wrong with that. But what ends up happening? Women tend to want men who are at least making what they're making and can still provide. Women don't want to do equality. Even the ones that say they do, they would prefer if the man could provide for them and keep them in their feminine, so they don't have to work hard and be in that rah-rah stuff during their 9 to 5 and then come home and try to be their feminine. This is causing issues today. This is an entire problem that we don't know how to fix as a culture yet, because now we all have to work our asses off just to make ends meet. Men can't be like their fathers who worked making 30K and being able to be the provider now and buy a home, off 10K or whatever. It just doesn't work like that anymore. But without going too far off again, just pure dating in your 30s, men should have an easier time if you did the things you're supposed to do. As a woman, even if you did the things you're supposed to do, you should have already had someone locked down. It's only harder from here. It is what it is. Women tend to have their picks in their early 20s. You guys tend to have whatever you want in your early 20s. You can have a 30, 40-year-old established guy. You can get a guy your age. You tend to have your pick of the litter early. So it's good to be choosy early. But at this stage, it's usually harder. With that said, women in their 30s still have plenty of options. More options than the typical man even. So all that to say, yes, if you're a good man who did everything that he's supposed to do, and you're fairly attractive, you took care of yourself, health is wealth, you'll have an easier time in your 30s versus your 20s. Women should have a harder time. They're still going to have plenty of options though. But it is what it is. Dating is still a disaster in 2024, any way you cut it. Whether it's age, sex, gender, it doesn't matter. It's a disaster either way. But all that to say, it should be slightly less of a disaster if you're a man in your 30s who has it together. Good luck out there.